Hi there, welcome back to the Messy Cook. Today I am making a Mexican corn dip. Now this I'm sure is not authentic, but this is going to be my take on it. So what I'm doing is you saw the video I made the other day of the freezing the corn and whatnot. So this is a few of the packs. This is like the large pack and about 3 of the small packets that I had. And what I'm doing is I'm just heating this up in the pan, and I want to get it almost a bit scorched, so I'm almost toasting the corn. Now another way you can do this is just use a cob of corn, and you can grill it on your grill and get some of those scorch marks, little scorch lines that go across it. But you don't want it burnt, but you just want just a little bit toasty. So this has a little bit of water, and it's going to take a little bit. Basically I'm going to heat it through. I've put a little bit of avocado oil in there, about maybe a little over a tablespoon and a half, and I'm going to continue to cook this until I can get a little bit of browning on it. And in the meantime, what I'm doing is I've cut up about half of just a small red onion. This is about a little over half of a red onion. I'm going to dice that up. I'm going to dice up 1 jalapeno. If you like the spice, leave the seeds in. I'm not going to, because I'm using this for a dip for family. And then I'm going to be adding in a packet when I'm done getting all this together of cream cheese, some mayonnaise. I have some queso fresco that I had in the freezer, taken out to thaw, and I'm going to be adding in some cheddar. So I'm going to continue to dice these, and I'll show you what we do with it next. Okay, so this corn is getting where I want it to be. I'm going to zoom in here, and hopefully you can kind of see. See in the middle of the pan here, it's getting a little bit sort of brown on the bottom. Some of these pieces. Let me stir this around and I'll show you what I mean by scorched. I'm not trying to dry it out too much. We're also going to be adding a lot of moisture back into it. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a spoonful that has some. There, you can see here that little. See there, that little piece there has a bit of scorching on it. I just want to brown. It's almost browning it a little bit. So I just want to brown this up a little bit. While it does that, I'm going to add in, just continue stirring. I have this on quite a high heat. I'm going to turn it down to medium now because I don't want it too hot. And I don't want to take all the moisture out of there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in, I've got it over here. I'm going to add in, now you can use whatever color peppers you want. Let me zoom back out here. Let's see here. So I'm going to add in, I have, like I said, a half of a small red onion. You can do more or less. This is kind of like put in what you like, or how much you like, measure with your heart. That's probably about a half a small onion. And this actually is probably like 1 large bag of corn if you were just to buy the frozen corn at the store. So I'm going to add that in. I'm also going to add in, I ended up doing 1 small red pepper. These colors just going to kind of make the dip pop. And I have the jalapenos, which I've diced quite small. As you can see here, I've diced them pretty small. We don't want them too large. Now, putting those in, I'm not cooking everything through. I just kind of want to warm it a little bit. By warming it, the heat, any residual heat from these jalapenos is going to basically cook out. And I'm going to have the flavor of the jalapeno. And also, if I continue to kind of scorch this rice a little bit or brown it a bit, I'm going to brown these veggies as well. I'll be adding in, I'm going to be putting this in a bowl shortly, and I'll be adding in the rest of the ingredients. And the heat from that should be melting everything. Like the heat from this will melt the cheese and the cream cheese, and I'm going to put some mayonnaise in there. So it's kind of reminiscent of like a, if you ever had Mexican street corn, same sort of idea. I'm going to add some lime juice in as well. There we go. So I think that's good. I'm going to turn this off and just let it sit for a couple of minutes. I'll come back and stir it in a second while I get the rest of the ingredients ready. I'll get it in a bowl and I'll show you what else we do next. Alright, so I've got the corn in here. It is still warm, but that's fine. And I wanted to show you close up. If you can see close in there, you can see some of those little bits of corn here are a little brown. That's exactly what you're looking for. Like I said, we're not cooking. We just, everything's going to soften just a tiny bit. Now, I'll show you the ingredients. This is the cheese you want, queso fresco. There's all kinds of different brands. This is the one that I buy. I don't use it a lot. It does freeze well, so I'm using half of it pack, and that's all I'm going to need. I'm also going to do some seasonings here, so let me get my teaspoon measure out. Let's just a regular old teaspoon. Don't have to be fancy. So I'm going to add in probably a half a teaspoon of salt. I don't want to do too much because I'm adding in mayo, I'm adding in the cheese, which has a little bit of saltiness, and the queso fresco also has a little bit of saltiness as well. I'm going to do probably the same for some black pepper. I'm just going to scrunch it in, make it a little tiny bit more coarse here. And I'm going to do it probably about half a teaspoon, I think. Just enough for flavor. You can always add more later, so don't overdo it. So there we go. And I was going to add cumin, but I think I'm just going to do a tiny bit, like a half a teaspoon of chili powder. If it's not got enough flavor, maybe a tiny bit more. If it doesn't have enough flavor, I'm going to add some cumin at the end. Cumin, however you pronounce it. And then we'll go from there. I'm going to grab a spoon and we're going to get this mixed up. And we're going to add our other ingredients in. This is a really great dip for parties. I'm going to my aunt's tomorrow for a pool party. And we're all bringing something. So I'm going to bring this Mexican dip. And I'm going to bring a caprese salad and some sort of peachy dessert. So you might see a video. I won't promise anything. You might see a video of that coming up. So I've got that mixed in. I've also got a trick here. I forgot to take my cream cheese out, so you can always put your block of cream cheese in a container of hot water and that will soften it right up. Yeah, and that's plenty soft enough. So I have that sitting for about 5 minutes. That's really all you need. So this is 8 ounces or 1 cup of cream cheese, or one of those little round soft containers, whatever works best for you. And hopefully I can get this open. The nice thing about these packs is they're sealed. You can't get in them, which makes it a bit difficult to open, but that's okay. There we go, maybe. You know what? I'm just going to cut the end off and squeeze it out because I think it's soft enough that I can actually do that. So there we go. Yeah, squeeze it right out the end. So I'm going to put that whole half a brick or 8 ounces or 1 cup, whatever way you want to measure it, of cream cheese. There we go. So that's in there. We're going to toss that in. I'm going to try to get this mixed in a little bit. It is softened, but we want to get it all the way through there. And I'm not going to put the mayo in yet. I'll put that in next. So again, probably 1 kilogram bag of corn, 1 small red pepper, half a small red onion, 1 jalapeno or more if you like. Seeds or not. Like I said, the seeds and the little white membrane on the inside, or the pith, is what makes it hot. So you don't want that. So, all right, I'm going to work at that for a moment and come back when that's all mixed in. Okay, so I've got that worked in. I have, the recipe called for 3/4 cup of mayo, but I think that's going to be a bit much because I'm adding the queso fresco in as well. Although that's kind of a dry, crumbly cheese, I still think, I'm just going to use my finger here, it's totally clean. I don't want to add too much, but like I said, I can always add more if I find that this is not moist enough. So we're going to get that mixed in. Because what we're going to do when we're done here is we're actually going to bake this. You can eat it like this, but I think if you bake it, it's going to be a little bit better. And I'll show you why when that's all done. It kind of melts everything together, including the cheese and whatnot. Now I'm going to take about, let's do half of this cheese and just crumble it throughout for a little bit of, that's still frozen. I'm going to use that to crumble on the top when I'm all done. So got that. Just a little bit of cheese here, crumbled in. I have about 1.5 cups of grated. Now I did fine grate, doesn't matter which one you do. I'm going to put about 1 cup of that in. Mix it in there. And we're going to mix this all up. Make sure everything is nicely combined. I'm going to have a little taste of it and see if it needs any more salt or pepper, or if it does need the cumin. And if so, I will add that in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bake this when we're done, and probably bake it at 350 for probably about 20 minutes. I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on the top, and we do that as well. So let me just grab a spoon here to rinse my hands, or a fork. Let's try a fork. And I just want to taste this to see, try to get a little bit of everything in there. There we go. Really good, but needs a little more flavor. So I forgot garlic powder, brought that down and forgot about it. So I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of garlic powder. You can put fresh garlic in if you want. If you do, I would recommend putting that in when you're scorching the the corn and the other veggies. And I'm going to put a half teaspoon of cumin in just to give it a little bit more Mexican flavor. I'm going to give this another stir, and I'm going to taste again and see if that's enough. So when we cook this, any heat residual heat that's left in that jalapenos, cooking it is going to dim that heat, so it's going to be pretty mild. Let's see here. That's perfect. I could eat that just like that. This would be really great with nacho chips. You can make this and put it in a taco shell and eat it like a taco. Really, really good. So let me get this ready in the containers that I'm going to have it in, and we're going to come back. Okay, so I decided to add in one more about a quarter cup of mayonnaise. Just because I thought it might be better to have a little bit more creamy. So the last thing I want to add in is cilantro. Now, if you absolutely hate cilantro, don't put it in. A lot of people say they don't like it, but when you buy that jarred salsa, most of you don't realize it's in there already. So if you really love it, leave the stems. You can cut those and they add lots of flavor. I love it, but I'm not going to do a ton because, like I said, I just want enough to get a little bit of flavor throughout there. And I'm doing one for the party tomorrow, and girls get together while I'm on vacation. And the other one I'm going to do for my husband and I tonight for supper. And I'm going to do a little tiny snacky one now that we can all see how it turns out. Let's get that off there and we'll go from there. So I just want to mix that in. This is going to give another little fleck of color. This will not be overpowering. You're barely going to taste it. It's more of a color than anything. So like I said, if you hate it or you don't want to add it in, don't add it in. This is just going to cook down like any other herb in there. So I'm going to do a very little teeny tiny ramekin for myself. That's it. I'm going to put my oven on 350, put a tiny sprinkle of cheese on the top. This is basically what I'm going to do for the other two dishes. There we go. So I'm going to add that on. I'm going to pop that in my oven at 350. Let's see here, for probably about 20 minutes. And we'll see how that turns out. There we go. So I've got that on. I'll check it probably in 25 minutes because I forgot to preheat my oven. And then I'm going to do this dish for tomorrow here, there, and this one for tonight. For my hubby and I for supper. I don't have any smaller containers, but I would have done it in a small one. I don't want to bake these ones now. Like I said, so I'm just going to bake the small one. Bake these now. They're not going to be as good. So you could do this ahead of time and freeze it, and then when you're ready to eat it, just thaw it out and then bring it to room temperature and put it in the oven and cook it for 20 minutes. You can sprinkle a little bit of cheese on the top if you like. You don't have to. Now I would, if you're going to sprinkle the cheese on the top, I would be sprinkling on the cheddar cheese on the top. So that's what you have inside. Don't need to do a lot, just a little sprinkle. And then when you're ready to serve it, if you want, put some fresh cilantro on the top. And you can add some more of that queso fresco. There, let's just make this work here. It doesn't have to be a ton of cheese. If you want more, you can add more on. For now, I don't feel like grating anymore, so that's going to be just fine. So for the time being, I'm just going to cover these two up. I'm going to pop them in the refrigerator and cook them up tomorrow. Well, this one tonight and that one tomorrow. And that's basically it. So I'm going to come back when the one that I just put in the oven is done and show you how I serve it. And how you can try it. So we'll be back in a little while. Okay, so this just came out of the oven, and I love cilantro. I know I put a little bit in there, but I'm going to take a few leaves and put it on the top. I'm just going to tear them. I'm a cilantro freak, so yeah, put it on if you like. And like I said, if you don't, you don't have to. You can also dress the top of this with a bit of fresh chopped pepper or like red or green peppers or whatnot. There we go. And I'm going to take a little bit of that, just a tiny bit of that queso fresco, and a little bit more of that on the top, however much you like. That's basically it. Like I said, you can serve this with the veggies. You can serve this with nacho chips, which is what I'm going to do. And literally, you just scoop her up. That's it. Excuse my fingers. It's got a little bit of cheese drip there. And that's, oh, there we go. Sorry, I can see there. It's a little stringy from the cheese, so that's kind of nice. So if you like more cheesy, put more cheese in. And I'm going to try this here. Oh, I could not rave about that more. That is absolutely delicious. That would actually be good with a little bit of hot sauce on the top too, if you like the extra spice. Really, really good. I hope you try this. Thanks for coming to my channel today and watching my video. I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that like button and click that little bell so you get reminders when I put new videos up. And have a great summer. Hope you guys try this dip. And if you do, let me know what you think. Have a great day.